If I hadn't have quit, I was 100% gonna get fired. So either way, I was not gonna make it. Some of those people were just rude for no reason. So obviously lockdown hit. This is where shit got so real. Nothing will be as hard as having to log when you go to the toilet, guys. You had to take a piss log. Okay, there's literally people staring at me. They just stared at me doing that thumbnail. Let's just get right into it. Okay, so first of all, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for returning. You're a real one. Right, so today's video, if you didn't know already, I quit my job in the middle of a pandemic, about to head into a recession, so there's that. So yeah, we're just going to talk about it today. A lot of you asked for this video. You were just like, spill the tea, like what happened. And yeah, I'm just gonna do that today. There's literally people walking past. I don't care anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna take this down. So I feel like my job has been something that I kind of bring up on my channel, but I don't really go into a lot, mainly because while I was working there, I didn't feel right speaking about it or bitching about it, and also just depressed me speaking about it, to be fair. It was just a really negative place and I didn't want to bring it onto my channel too much. So here is the tea. We're just gonna get straight into it. So we'll start off with kind of when I started the job. So I started last September. My notice ended on the exact year mark, which is just crazy, and I feel like it was a sign. Call me crazy, but I feel like it was a sign. And yeah, I'd basically just had a while off work. I was working for my brother for a bit, and let's just say since uni, it was my first like real job. Like it was my first office job. But yeah, I was really happy when I got it, and it was kind of like, it came at a good time. Like I needed a job. I was just happy to start my corporate career. Emphasis on the air quotes. Without going into too much detail, because I feel like it's really easy nowadays to work out like exactly where someone worked, but basically worked in debt. I know I've mentioned that before, but my actual role was pretty much, I mean, it wasn't advertised as this, let me tell you that. So the actual job itself, we were basically debt collectors for our solicitors. Those solicitors had different clients and we were passed on the debt to collect for the clients. Like that's how it works. So yeah, we had quite a few clients. We went through training. You got a background in like debt, finances, all the clients, everything like that. You were clued up, but there were certain things they just didn't prepare you for. I'll get into that later. So it's really weird. Like the job itself, I didn't actually apply for. I basically got scouted by a recruitment agency. My CV was just out there. So yeah, she just gave me a call and she was like, oh yeah, it sounds like it kind of matches up with your CV. Like you have a degree, it's kind of communication based, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. I kind of gone through this whole phase of not getting very much luck with jobs. So I was like, anything will do right now. So I went for the interview, and this is where I should have known that this job was not for me. I went into the interview, guys, I didn't even know that this job was phone based, but I was pretty much working in a call center. Again, not advertised on the job description at all, which I feel like is low-key not right, but anyway, a lot about this job wasn't right. So yeah, basically in the interview, you kind of got like a taster, and it's called call listening. You basically have to listen in with someone who's on the call, just to kind of listen to the conversations so you can know what your job's going to entail. So yeah, I walked in, my office reminded me of The Office from The Office. Very just grey, very bog standard office scenes, right? So I walked in, there's a lot of people talking, like it was really loud, and there was all these people with headsets on at the front. I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna be at the back with all the people on the computers. No. She says, Alisha, just sit down with Oliver. Oliver, if you're watching. So here's me sitting on the calls, no idea what the hell he's on about, because obviously I hadn't had any training yet. All I remember though is that none of the calls were positive, and thinking back, why would I think they would be? That should have been a clear sign that this was not going to be the job for Alisha. Anyways, the calls were basically people either calling in or us calling them to collect debt, right? So they're not going to be pleasant calls, are they? No one wants to pay debt, no one wants to particularly collect debt. It's just a negative two-way conversation, in all honesty, is what it was. Anyways, I did the call listening, didn't think much of it. Couldn't really gauge from the interview if I got it or not, if they thought I was the right kind of person for it. I just kind of left and I was like, okay, not what I expected, but okay, whatever. Anyways, a couple days later, I get a call from the recruitment lady and she's like, oh, by the way, you got the job. Didn't even remember which job it was for. I'd applied for that many. And she told me, I was like, oh, okay, great. I was just about to go to Barcelona. Like I was kind of worried about my job situation, and it kind of put me at ease. I was like, oh, at least I can enjoy this holiday. That holiday should have foreshadowed the rest of that year, because goddamn, what a hot mess of a holiday. Go watch the vlog if you don't know. So yeah, I basically got the job and I was like, okay, I've got this holiday. They said that's fine, just start back the next Monday when you come back. I was like, perfect, amazing. Told my family, they're like, amazing, great, foot in the door, you know. So I came back from holiday and I basically started work, and I was really excited. I was kind of really optimistic. I was like, okay, this is my chance. This is my chance to get into the corporate world, get into an office job, you know, slap it on the CV, work with people again, because I'd worked from home for so long. And I was feeling really positive about it. And from what you could see, it was a very nicely packaged place. Like, it was very nice inside, people in suits, very corporate, right? Job itself, my job role, absolute ghetto, the most ghetto you could get, I feel like. And also guys, as much as I complain about this job, I just want you guys to know that I'm very aware that I was lucky to have a job, especially in today's climate. And I just want you to know that I didn't quit the job lightly. Like, if I could choose, I would definitely keep my job during these times, especially because I know how hard it's going to be for me to find a job. I know so many people have lost their jobs, and to be honest, I would understand if you were like, well, why didn't you just grin and bear it, you know? Like, you had a job, someone would kill for your position. But guys, when I tell you, this job not only affected my mental health, but it was just affecting my daily life. Like, it was affecting YouTube. The amount of friendships that broke down, mainly because of how I changed as a person and how I'd become due to this job, it got to the point where I was like, okay, listen, even though times are so hard right now, and even though you're one of the very few who has a job, didn't even get furloughed, like, you're working through the whole thing, it's just like, you can't do anymore. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there, just in case you're like, okay, why is she being so ungrateful? Like, trust me, I'd rather be unsure about my entire future than be in that job. So cheers to that. God, I feel like there should be vodka in here instead. Anyways, first few weeks are very kind of training based, very classroom based. A lot of the people that work there, and obviously still do, are around my age. So it wasn't so much the people at all. I really enjoyed the team. My personal manager was amazing. Oh, there's a squirrel. Anyways, then we get onto the phones. So first few calls is like Bambi on ice. Like, you don't know what you're saying, you don't know who is going to come through to you on that call, if they're going to be angry, sad, crying, like, you don't know. You just need to be prepared for whatever. First call, I literally had a coughing fit. I swear, so much stuff happened that should have been assigned to me to just walk out and never turn back. Anyways, first few weeks on the phones were rocky, but I feel like anyone that works there, if you're watching, I feel for you. The first few weeks are tough. Like, it's just kind of just getting to grips with everything, kind of building a thick skin, because if you're in debt, if you're in that kind of environment, or just call centers in general, like complaints, like anything like that, guys, it is not for the faint hearted, I'm not gonna lie. Like, even my manager, when I left, she was like, listen, I understand, pretty much all day every day you are having people literally shouting at you, so it's intense. Anyways, as I said, my team was very much my age group, so it was kind of fun. Like, at the beginning it was very social, like we all sat around the same place. I was working right next to two girls that I absolutely loved, like literally to this day we still talk. It's actually crazy that place brought us together. But yeah, it was kind of chill for the beginning. Didn't really get affected by a lot. Like, yes, you would have people arguing with you over the phone. I think when it hit me was when I personally started to go through some personal stuff of my own. Nothing like crazy. I was obviously not in the best mood, right? And when you're already feeling a bit crap, when you go into that job, it is honestly one of the worst jobs, understandably, that you could go into if you're struggling yourself with just like your own shit. You're already in like a negative mood, and then to go from that into a negative phone call or a negative conversation is just not it. So it'd make any minor inconvenience, any minor issue I was having in my life. I had an argument with my mum that morning, I'd make it 10 times worse, because going into work to a negative place, I'm finding it hard to describe to you, because you wouldn't understand unless you're there day in, day out, with a headset on, call after call. I've been called everything under the sun. It's kind of weird, because it's kind of similar to YouTube in that way. Hate comments, you kind of just ignore them because you can't really see them. But I don't know what it is, when you are on the phone and you're hearing it, as much as I didn't pay attention, I was like, well, obviously they don't know me, and obviously I'm not going to be in the best mood if I'm calling them to collect debt. Like, it's understandable. As much as I could kind of understand and have that outlook on it, sometimes it would just get too much, and you were just like, listen, I don't need this. Like, I remember the day that I decided I was gonna quit, it was after a phone call like that. I literally got in my car and I was like, listen, even though you're not any of these things, you're gonna get to a point where you start believing it, or it's gonna start affecting you. Why are you even upset about it? Do you know what I mean? Like, why was I crying in my car about a phone call with a stranger? Like, what was it? Obviously it was due to a lot of other things, and the fact that the job in general was just really negative. But yeah, some of those people were just rude for no reason, and it took everything in me not to pop off at them. It really did. So yeah, beginning was kind of chill, didn't really think much of anything. The whole time I knew this wasn't going to be my forever job. I don't think any job is your forever job, but yeah, it was bearable, let's just say that. Fast forward to, I want to say March, so beginning of lockdown, right? Guys, when I tell you, this is where shit got so real. It's traumatic to even think about. I can't, don't even look at me. So obviously lockdown hit March 23rd, and I know my workplace did all they could to make it safe for us. But guys, if anyone from my workplace is watching, I'm so sorry, but the way they handled lockdown and working from home, that transition, I feel like they could have avoided a lot of the stress that it caused. Like, we literally, lockdown was announced on the Sunday. We got a text to say, okay, you need to come in, bring your laptops in the next day, get the software on there, then you're working from home. It was like, okay. Like, literally, guys, this is, so I'm gonna spill a bit of tea. The day that we had to work from home, so the day we had to grab all our shit and go home, they literally said, your drive home is your lunch break. Like, what? I understand why they were stressed. I understand why, you know, it was a stressful time for everyone in the whole flipping country. But I feel like they could have done that a week earlier when every other office started working from home. And I feel like it just would have been a bit of a smoother transition. Anyways, that's just my personal opinion. My point is, working from home and doing that job, absolute A-class ghetto. And let me tell you why. First of all, the one person keeping me sane in that place, I couldn't even see her. You know who you are, don't even. That was it's a tough time. So not only were you not around your colleagues, your friends, or just people going through the same thing as you, which was the daily abuse over the phone, it was like everything was 10 times as bad. It was as if you couldn't escape the job. Like, in a lot of ways, I preferred working from home. I preferred obviously waking up late, not having to travel. But I think working from home, and I'm kind of grateful that it happened, just highlighted how awful the job was. Because it was the same with the people on the other side of the phone. You're calling people during a pandemic to ask for money when they've either just lost their job, they can't pay their rent, health issues, people literally with coronavirus. Like, when in any kind of world is that going to be a positive job in any way? And I understand, like, it's a job, it needs to be done, it's debt, it needs to be paid, whatever, but just like morally, it just didn't feel right. Like, it didn't feel right. And you'd have people on the phones and they'd be like, how can you be doing this at this time? Do you have no heart? Blah, blah, blah. And the amount of times I just wanted to say, listen, I feel you, but I have a job to do too, and I can't, like, do you know what I mean? I can't just write off your debt and say bye. Like, it is what it is. It's just, it felt like I was trapped in this cycle of just negativity. Like, we'd be calling nurses, doctors. Do you know how awful that made me feel? During this pandemic, calling frontline workers and asking them to cough up money in such a scary time. It was just, it felt like I was just adding more negativity and more fear into an already scary time. So yeah, also bearing in mind, by this point, most of the people that I actually spoke to and liked, they were already like, peace out, we're done. So it was that, there was just lack of communication. It was just stressful. I went through a pretty tough time during lockdown, just like to do with my personal life, personal mess of a life. I feel like if I hadn't had this job, it would not have been anywhere near as bad as it was. Like, guys, when I tell you, and you can ask my close friends, my family, at that time I was a horrible person to be around, and I can hand on heart say that was 90% due to the job. But the thing is, I knew as well, and it was such a hard situation to be in. Again, very grateful I had the job, and at no point was I like not grateful for having a job, but at the same time I was kind of like, well, I'm trapped because there's barely any jobs going. I don't have time or energy to look for a job, so it's kind of like, what do I do? So yeah, lockdown, let's just say, probably one of the toughest moments of my life. I'm not gonna lie, not to be dramatic, I know I'm dramatic, but sad boy hours for Alisha. But yeah, we basically got called back into work. I got an extra month off because my mum was shielding. I kind of just knew, you know, you just know that that was going to be your breaking point. Like, guys, when I tell you I tried, like I tried to stick it out, because I was kind of like, okay, maybe if I go back it's going to make it better. Like, I can see people, it's going to be a lot less intense because you're not going to be at home. But your bitch was wrong. Yeah, went back to the office. Guys, because of coronavirus, everything had changed, and so it should have. As I said, we shouldn't have really gone back into the office, I don't think. But yeah, we were basically all sat apart, all in separate rooms, and you couldn't eat lunch with anyone. It wasn't what I'd left. I mean, what I'd left wasn't really that great, but it was bearable. So when I went back, it was kind of like the worst parts of working from home and the worst parts of working in the office combine to form a shit show. Like, I knew deep down, I was like, I'm not gonna last much longer. Let's just put it this way, if I hadn't have quit, I was 100% gonna get fired. So either way, I was not gonna make it. So I decided to go with some dignity, you know, bit of class. So yeah, basically worked in the office for what, 2 weeks, I think. I ummed and ahed about leaving. I was like, okay, you've just been dramatic. It's gonna be so hard to find another job. You are dumb. Don't leave it. But then, as I said, I got the call, and that was when I was like, guys, I'm out. It wasn't even that bad compared to some calls I've got. As I said, I've literally been called everything under the sun with that job. But it was just the end of the day. I already literally cried on my break. Oh, also, during lockdown, I was literally, like, crying between calls. Like, I think you know it's bad when you're crying whilst you're working. Like, I was on the phone to people, literally like crying. I had to mute and cry. Anyways, yeah, I kind of knew that day. I was like, okay, it's not feeling good. I'm not feeling good. Had a call with an absolute prick, and I just got into my car, sat there, and I was like, there is no way I can step foot back in that place unless I've already handed in my notice, and unless I have a last day in sight. I kind of just realised you're not better than the place, not better than the people, not better than that job role, but I just took the decision, and I was like, I am worth more than feeling this shit. And literally, as soon as I decided that, even before I handed in my notice, a massive weight just came off my shoulders, and it was just like a massive cloud had been lifted from in front of my eyes, and I just felt so good. So yeah, I slept on it, and then the next morning, again, had to take a toilet break, cried, and I was like, Dad, I am literally crying at my desk. I'm holding back the tears, like, I need to quit. And he was like, Alisha, quit. I'm someone who takes my family's advice and takes their opinion very seriously, and literally all of them were like, Alisha, bitch, quit. So yeah, the next day I handed in my notice. By handing in my notice, I mean I emailed my manager, because we weren't even in the same room because of COVID, and she called me for a meeting, and she was not surprised. She was like, I knew you weren't enjoying it. Like, I knew this wasn't your forever job. I understand it. It's like a negative thing. She got it. Like, she got it, and I'm always grateful for that. Like, she didn't make it awkward. She didn't make me feel bad. So yeah, then I just had to work my notice, which, can I just say, longest month of my life. There were times even when I was working the notice where I was like, listen, I don't think I can do it. I'm kind of weirdly proud that I made it through the notice, because I was like, listen, if I'm gonna quit the job, at least flipping work the notice, at least do your job, at least show them what they're missing, you know. So yeah, last day was Friday, and it was kind of like, I guess when I passed my driving test, like, it'd been such a long time of just feeling shit about something. When I left, I wasn't even overly happy. I just felt drained. I was just done. I also wanted to point out, I didn't just leave my job with no plan. I had time over lockdown to save money, because in the back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna have to leave at some point. So luckily, I'm in the position where I could leave. But yeah, I didn't want this to be a video where it's like, yeah, quit your job. This is a sign, quit your job, blah, blah, blah. Like, guys, it's not. It's the real world. Sometimes you have a shit job and you just have to work through the shit job. I mean, if it was up to me, I would have quit this job in flipping February, but I couldn't because I wasn't in the position to. But having said that, if you are at a point in your job where it is literally affecting you to the point where you are crying at work, where it's affecting your real life relationships, it's not worth it, guys. Like, if you can, just quit. No job, no amount of money is worth feeling that shit. So yeah, peace out to that chapter of my life. Plan for now is to just spend some time getting everything back on track that I let fall during that time, which is YouTube, exercise, healthy eating, you know, getting myself back on track. Guys, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna need another job. Like, it's not like I've just quit my job for flipping YouTube. Like, that's not how life works. But definitely do need some time out, and I'm very happy and lucky that, as I said, I save the money, I'm in the position where I can take some time out, and bitch, I'm gonna take it. And again, I'm not underestimating how hard it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be hard, but nothing will be as hard as having to log when you go to the toilet, guys. You had to take a piss log, so I think you can tell. People around me have told me as well, which is so reassuring, that I feel and look and sound just like me again. So yeah, I definitely feel so much more positive, so excited about the future, so excited to put focus on YouTube again. And when I say I mean that this time, because when I used to say that when I was working at that job, as much as I wanted to, I didn't mean it. But yeah, now is the time for a fresh start, recuperate, and yeah, see where YouTube takes me to. I'm excited, guys. Cheers. As weird as it sounds, thank you for staying by me and on my channel through this past year. I know it hasn't been the most amazing content and the most amazing channel to be around, which is my fault, but thank you for staying through and watching and commenting all the time, messaging me all the time. Like, guys, you don't understand, even when I was having like a bad day at work, that stuff would literally get me through the day. It's insane. So yeah, thank you guys for that. There's some exciting stuff in the pipeline, I'm not gonna lie to you. Alisha, Jasmine, watch this space. Flipping out. So yeah, I hope you're good, guys. I love you a lot. Stay tuned for my next video. Let me know what you want to see. Now I have got a bit more time, we can up the content a bit. I'd also be interested, guys, what do you see me doing, like job wise? Like, obviously I have YouTube and I want to do that eventually and have that always there, but in terms of career wise in general, what do you see me doing? I think that'll be interesting to know, so comment down below what you see me doing. Love you guys a lot. If you are watching from my workplace, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're one of my friends from the workplace, guys, we made it, we're here. I feel like that experience really bonded us, and I hope you're all good. Make sure to subscribe if you're not. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Stay safe, and cheers to not crying in the toilet on our lunch break.